Born in Cleveland, raised a hillbilly. What's your story? Welcome to the Hillbilly Justice on the School Bus podcast. Here's your host, Sarah Blossom Ware.
Today I'll be reading Chapter 4 from my memoir about growing up as a hillbilly in Northwest Arkansas. Chapter 4 is called Mom. My mom embraced the Southern lifestyle insofar as she had to in order to survive. To this day, Mom speaks exactly the same way she did living and growing up in downtown Cleveland, very fast and with a distinctly Midwest accent. Even though she was less enamored than Dad with the hillbilly lifestyle, my mother from Cleveland did learn how to be a darn good mountain woman. Mrs. Emerson taught her a lot of what she learned, including how to cook brown beans and cornbread and how to can pickles. Mrs. Emerson also taught Mom how to milk a goat and how to pee and poop in the woods. Other things Mom taught herself out of necessity. She figured out how to cook Boston brown bread in a metal coffee can over a campfire. And she learned how to make homemade yogurt from an article in the Mother Earth News. Mom also learned how to shoot snakes with a shotgun, which was a necessity since it was quite common to run across poisonous rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths. Even everyday household chores like doing the laundry were made insurmountably difficult without running water and electricity. Dad worked 6 to 7 days per week at Campbell's Soup, so that left the insurmountable household chores to Mom. Every Saturday was laundry day, all day. Mom would gather up 7 days' worth of dirty clothes for 6 people into big black trash bags and load these into the car. Us kids would fit in between and on top of the bags wherever there was room, and we'd take a 20-minute trip into Prairie Grove to the laundromat. George and I always found it very interesting to load the quarters into their slots on the washing machines and shove the slots forward to start the wash cycles. After this task was accomplished, the excitement was over, and the waiting began. There was a bit of a pick-me-up when it was time to transfer the clothes to the dryers, and then more waiting. If the weather was nice enough, we would save money on dryers and bring the wet clothes back home to dry on the clothesline. Hours and hours of waiting. Sometimes we would walk to the library and bring books back to read. Most of the time, we were just really bored. Mom always did the best she could with what we had, which was nothing. I know that now, but I didn't know it then, so she did a good job. What do kids remember fondly when there are no materialistic items present? One memory that stands out from my childhood is when Mom helped George and me make homemade Christmas ornaments in the loft of the cabin when I was 4 or 5 years old. Mom hand-drew pictures of angels, stars, and Christmas trees on some stiff yellowed paper. We colored the pictures with crayons and then cut out the ornaments. Mom stabbed a ragged hole at the top of each ornament with the tip of a knife, and we looped yarn through and tied them off. I can still clearly picture black lines on the back of the ornaments. Now I know that the stiff paper that we used must have been some type of free scrap paper that Mom picked up from somewhere. The ornaments were so beautiful hanging on the branches of our little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. I also remember that Mom was an interesting driver. She didn't get her driver's license until she and Dad moved to Arkansas. She claims that she never needed one until then, but I have an inkling that maybe no officer would pass her in Cleveland. Mom always drove one speed, around 40 miles per hour, whether she was on dirt road or blacktop. This was a flying speed when on the dirt roads and a crawling turtle's pace when on the blacktop. One day, a friend of mine from high school confided in me under his breath that he was driving behind my mom on his way home from school and that she was drunk. He mimicked how she was leaning forward and grasping the steering wheel tightly as she crawled along at about 40 miles per hour. Such a silly boy. I told him that I had no doubt that he had observed all of this, but that my mom didn't drink. Okay, so let's reintroduce our discussion panel members that are joining us for the first 4 podcasts. I've asked each member to come up with a 6-word summary of who they are. You can also hear more expanded introductions in the first podcast. I'll start. I'm Sarah Blossom Ware, and my 6-word summary is born in Cleveland, raised a hillbilly.
Hi, I'm Gina Chambers, and my 6-word summary is extremely vivid dreams all night long. Hello, I'm Andrea Shaw, and my 6-word summary is Island Girl Stuck in the City.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Wojcik, and my 6-word summary is pre-physical therapy student and Polish folk dancer.
Hi, I'm Jaimie Finlayson. My 6-word summary is I'm a fun-loving free spirit.
If you're listening in, please leave your 6-word summary in the comments online. Before we dive into the discussion questions for this week, it's time for a segment I call, So What Have You Been Busy With Lately? Jaimie, so what have you been busy with lately?
Well, my main focus is on school. I spend a lot of time doing that. I'm a zoology major, so I am working hard trying to get into that as much as I can and try and get involved. I do a lot of volunteering, and I'm trying to actually get into some dog walking and sitting, which is interesting. I live in Lisle in a condo with my roommate. I have 3 cats and a snake. So we got a pretty full house. I've been bartending for the past couple of years, and I fell in love with that. I love the interaction with everybody, and I love learning all the chemicalness behind working with alcohol and the way everything mixes. It's very interesting to me. That's pretty much what I'm up to, just working and going to school, trying to make my dreams happen.
Yeah, good for you.
That's what I'm doing.
Keep on doing it. Okay, so let's begin our discussion for today. The chapter is called Mom, so these questions are mostly focused around our mothers. And the first one is a similar question, the same question that we had for the chapter about Dad, but only for Mom this time. What kind of personality did or does your mother have? Kathleen?
Okay, so like I mentioned in the other podcast, my mom is very, she stays by her word. She's also very hardworking and caring. Similar to your mom, she kind of gave us anything that she had, even though it wasn't a lot. She really kind of just puts everyone else before herself. I know she was like my rock growing up, always there for us, always supporting anything we got involved in at school, any performances or anything. She was always there. She's very present.
Gina?
I think my mom has a good heart somewhere. I think that her intention is to make people happy and help people. I just think that she's very unclear on what that means. I'm not really sure if she knows what love means or even what respect and honor mean. So I think she struggles with living because of that. I think she does have some mental or psychological disabilities. So what I know of my mom is just a person who lives in a state of chaos and self-medicates a lot.
And her mother, do you know if she was like that too, or?
Her mother is a little more stable. I think she's sort of has a classic personality for that generation. I don't think there was a lot of communication going on probably in the generation before. It's very much sort of sweep things under the rug, and I think that's a little bit of why my mom is created the way she is. So there's definitely stuff in her childhood, I think, that made her feel probably unprotected and unheard and disrespected that I think sort of snowballed into who she is now. I do see that. But my grandmother is much more functional.
So Andrea?
My mom was very, very creative. She really, I remember her loving to read. She would read all the time. She would study the Bible and she would just read a ton all the time. That's what she did. I would do my schoolwork and she would read. And I think that she was very intentional in who she loved. It wasn't like, I love everybody. It was, I love you and I'm going to pour everything into you. And, what else can I say? I think there's too much rolling around in my emotions to really get it out clearly about her. So we can move on.
Okay. Jaimie?
If I had to describe my mom, I would say she is a mom of everything. She just portrays such a mom personality. She's been like such a caregiver throughout my life, and if you ever walk into her house, she's going to whether she knows you or not. She gives you a hug, kiss on the cheek. Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? What can I do? How can I take care of you? What help do you need? How can I care for you? And my brother's friends and all of my friends growing up, they always called her mom. We'd always hang out with her, and she's just always taking care of everybody and anything that needs to get done. And even now, she always is still trying to help me as much as she has the ability to. She always just wants to care and help.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It is
Such a mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what are some of the fondest memories that you have growing up involving your mother? Jaimie?
Well, thinking about this, most of my memories that are of my mom they all surround food. A lot of them surround food. My mom, God, not to mention again, but she is amazing. After, raising 2 kids completely separately on her own, growing up, my mom made everything from scratch. My sandwich bread, she made from scratch. Pizza, all was homemade down to the sauce. Like, I am flabbergasted at how she had that ability and still go to work and, send me to school and do laundry and everything. So yeah, most of my memories are just sitting at the table with me and my mom and my brother just having a good time, sharing food together and laughing and joking, or having my grandmother over and eating there. At Easter, we always play a game with our hard-boiled eggs where we battle it out. It's just we're always around food, where she's always trying to feed you. And so yeah, all of our memories are definitely surrounding food.
And so how do you win a hard-boiled egg battle?
If your egg does not get cracked all the way, you'll hit an egg on each side and you'll battle between each other. And so if your egg got cracked on each side of the egg, you lost. But if you didn't, you're a surviving champion. You get to move on and beat other eggs. I know it sounds funny, but this is something we've done every year, and I love these traditions.
So you just know from playing when it's cracking off to lose?
Well, you'll hold it in your hand, right? And one person will take it and you just bang right into it. And then so whoever's cracked, whether it's the person holding or the person banging into it.
It's like the wishbone.
Then you'll flip.
Crack always?
Yeah, so one won't crack, and then you'll flip it, and then you do it again for whatever side's not cracked. And so if somebody got both sides cracked, they lose.
It's like a science experiment, too.
Yeah. It's like the wishbone.
And it makes coloring eggs, you have a tendency to really color them because you're hoping the dye will create this protective coating on there. It's like the egg armor. It's a ridiculous thought, I know, but these are fun things. And my mom always says that whenever we're at the dinner table, that's when we have to talk about poop. Yeah. Me and my brother will always, I don't know how it happens, every time poop comes up.
My daughters do that.
Always at the dinner table.
We do.
We'll always, no, we still do it now.
Oh. Okay. Well, Andrea, what kind of memories do you have that are very fond of your mother?
My mom would take me to the beach, and my mom is white. My dad is Hawaiian Filipino, but my mom is white as they come and would burn super easily. So we'd go to the beach, and we'd all be playing out in the sun, bathing suits on, and my mom would be sitting on a chair, huddled under a towel with her hat on, covered and slathered in sunscreen, just because she burns so easily. So that's one memory, but I think Kathleen mentioned, was it you that mentioned that everybody called your mom, or was it was you, Gina, sorry. But that's who my mom was. She was the mother of our group, and so she'd always be the one taking us places, and all of my friends called her mom. All of my friends came over to my house, and she was the one that was the mother of the group, and so that's a very fond memory of her.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go next. All right, so like I said earlier, my mom gave a lot of her time to me, my brother, my sister. So she spent a lot of her free time either playing with us outside or teaching us how to ride bikes, little things like that, or taking us to practices, performances. But one of my favorite memories is when we would do something together that was for both of us, not just for us. And that was before any big holidays, we always baked a bunch of cookies. So just being in the kitchen with my siblings and her, kind of learning from her, but also stealing some like the cream off the cakes and things like that. Like little, like a day in the kitchen, like probably was one of my favorite memories of my mom being younger.
Hey, Gina.
So for me, I struggled with this question a lot, but I guess I would say because my mom sort of played the, not really, but the sort of every other weekend type dad role, but it would be like summers or quick sort of vacations, like a spring break or something like that. Her way to show love was to spend a lot of money. So it would say revolve around food, except for it was always eating out. So there was a lot of different ethnic foods, or, going to amusement parks. Growing up, the time that she was still in Florida, we had season passes to Busch Gardens, and I remember going to Disneyland and MGM and all of those types of things. And, medieval times, those would probably, although they're the things I also have pictures of, right. So maybe that's why I remember those things. But I think that, even as an adult, when she would come and visit, she would, go shopping and go out to eat and want to go to the movies and those types of things. Eventually, as I tried to, rein in those types of things, it became destructive, though. It kind of went in the opposite direction. So as we started to financially be more stable and not want to have that type of connection with her and want to actually sit down and read the books and play the games and do things that were more interactive in the kitchen, that became the hardest thing. The thing that caused, really, I think, the split up between the families. So
it was easy for her to take you out somewhere and do something in a public kind of a situation, but not spend one-on-one.
I think she struggles with the one-on-one or anything that is sort of sensitive or goes deep. I think she really struggles with that. And so it was always, and I think that's also how she showed her love. So there would be times in life where you just wouldn't even see her or hear from her if she was in between men or not working at the time. And then she would latch herself onto somebody and there would be money. So she would come and want to do lavish vacations and, shopping sprees and all these types of things. That's the only way that she knew how to connect, I think. It was fun as a kid.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
You get all this stuff.
right. But then it was a struggle
fun,
as an adult when you have, children that you're trying to raise differently, and it became chaotic.
Right.
So Jaimie had mentioned a tradition of the egg battling. I thought maybe, if you have any family traditions that were really, that really stuck with you, maybe you even still do them with your children, or any kind of memories that you have that you'd like to share about your family traditions. Let's hear about those.
All right, I'll start. One that is kind of up the same, like Easter egg-ish alley. When we were younger, we did every year, my mom just hid like coins, like quarters or nickels or candy in like little Easter egg things, and we did Easter egg hunts every year. And like as we got older, we'd get like dollar bills, and it was like a huge deal. Or like just candy. It was, I don't know, that was just like something that we did every year. That like all of our family participated, even like the older people. So we stopped doing it now. But hopefully once I have kids, I'll kind of pick that up again. Yeah.
That should never end. Just keep going to adulthood.
I was so upset. My family actually, on my dad's side, they would all do an Easter egg hunt too, and they made me stop. When I was like 12, they're like, "You're too old to Easter egg hunt." I came super excited to Easter egg hunt. I want candy.
Yeah, that could be a little traumatizing.
Like, hey, you don't get to. Let me tell you, that was the last Easter egg went over there too. You guys.
You'll have to come over for Easter.
You'll let me.
My
Easter
oldest
egg
is
hunt?
14. And Hannah still does it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Any other kind of
I do. It was just me. I was an only child. I think I already said that. But my mom, for Easter, for Christmas, I would always get a new pretty dress, and she would make it. And so that was always fun to expect the pretty dress that was handmade, and I really loved those dresses.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was always something to look forward to.
That's amazing.
Do you still keep those? Do you still have them? Or
I think that we had saved one of them, and I think I have my dad has a box of stuff that was from when I was little, and I think it's in there. But I think saved a couple more than that, but I don't know what happened to them over the years.
We should have
Or I
him
wore
bring
them
some
out.
stuff when he comes.
Whenever we go back to visit him, like Scarlett said, my daughter said she'll like sneak in the room and go through the box, which I kind of like having it there for them to go and peek in and find stuff that they want to look at. That's fun.
Yeah, so for me, my first instinct is say no tradition. But if I really dig deep, I think when you said something you carried through, this is kind of a funny thing, is I remember spending a lot of time on the couch with my dad watching TV, and there would be things like we would watch New Yankee Workshop and This Old House. He was really into watching other people doing things, but never had a lot of initiative to get up and do them. But I have love home improvements and love furniture making, and for what time I have and what tools I have, I've made some pretty fun stuff. It's often pretty rickety because I don't really have a lot of skills other than watching TV, but I have that desire. Another thing is, growing up, my dad and I used to watch America's Funniest Home Videos, and John and I have done that. Obviously, it's been around since I was a kid, so John and I have done that, I think, almost every Sunday since we've had children. That's sort of like a family time that we get together, because we often don't agree on the shows, but that's the one thing that we can watch together. So,
and it's still clean.
It's one of the only things that's and it's semi-clean. There's definitely some questionable things on there, but my one daughter, being really sensitive, thinks that maybe we shouldn't laugh at people when they hurt themselves, but we convinced her that it's okay.
Yeah, I remember going along with Christmas. I mean, we still do this. Me and my mom have always given each other a Christmas ornament every year. She used to only say that we'd only do it up until we're 18, but me and her still do it. Not so much her and my brother, but that's just something that we've always maintained, and it's been really special. We pick out, something very meaningful and very special to both of us, and something that reminds us of, maybe our past or something. And that's just a tradition that I love. We would always open it up on Christmas Eve night and put the ornament on the tree. Yeah, with our untraditional Christmas trees. We never had a regular Christmas tree. When my brother's home, because he's so much older, he gallivants around. So when he's home, we have to have a traditional Christmas. But when it's just me and my mom, one year we had a palm tree that we turned into a Christmas tree. We had a couple lights. We had some little fern before. I made a ribbon tree once. Our Christmas tradition is untraditional Christmas.
Nice. That's really super fun, though.
Oh, great. What roles did your parents take on when raising you? So my mother really was the one who she worked, so she wasn't totally traditional. She worked full time, but she was also the one who did, the household cleaning and the laundry. My father worked 6 or 7 days a week, and he, that was his main contribution, other than he cooked. He liked to cook, so my father cooked most of the meals versus my mother. She can cook too, but that's just a little bit different, kind of a role reversal maybe thing that my dad always liked to do. So I'm wondering what roles your parents took on when raising you, and were they traditional or a little more untraditional or kind of in between? How did that go? Andrea?
My mom and dad were pretty traditional as far as their roles. He worked, she stayed home and took care of me. I think later on she worked a little bit too. But like you said about your dad cooking, my dad loves to cook, and my mom would mostly do the cooking, but if my dad was around during a mealtime, he would definitely take over. And he was so good at it. Is so good at it. So I can't really think of anything else. He took out the trash, mowed the lawn, she did the housework and stuff. Very traditional.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I don't think there was too many things that were traditional.
Yeah.
When I was with my mom, she played both roles, and when I was with my dad, he played both roles. So I don't really know. As far as them being together, I don't have. And even when they were married, it was still so chaotic with different people, or it was such a short period of time that I don't really remember. My dad worked, but then was disabled when I was young, maybe 5th grade, the first solid year that I had with him. So he was always at home. So he kind of played the stay-at-home mom plus the dad role, I guess, kind of worked on the side.
Jaimie?
Well, my parents, I feel, both have really distinct roles. They were divorced since I was very young, but they were always so very close to each other. I mean, even now they're 10, 15 minutes from each other. So I was never really having to, have one take on both roles or anything. My mom always had me during the weekdays, so she did all the basic caring for me. She'd take me to school, make lunches, do my laundry, all the stuff you expect from, your mom typically, but she still had to go to work. I mean, she was a single mom. She went to work and did everything that she does, and then my dad would take me on the weekends, and he kind of, got to have the fun time because there wasn't a lot of responsibilities on the weekend. He's the one who took us out for vacations, and, we played around and did fun stuff all the time. So I think my mom definitely made more compromises than my dad. She'd be the one who's taking me to the doctor when I'm sick. She's the one at parent-teacher conferences. She's the one, making sure that whenever I need somebody, she was there. And my dad, not so much on that aspect.
I would have to agree with Andrea in terms of my parents. They are very traditional. So my dad is the one that's out working, kind of like supporting us financially, whereas my mom was like the caregiver, like cooking, cleaning, like driving us to practices, showing up to like where any time like a parent was needed. Just very traditional. It's like with cooking, same with Andrea's parents. Like my dad loves to cook, but he doesn't do it very often. It's like a once in a blue moon kind of thing. Like he'll treat us to like one of his special dinners, but that's about it.
So that was all of the formal, kind of questions that I had for the mom chapter. But I just like to open it up. And is there anything else anyone, would like to say about their mom at this point?
In general, it was this kind of same thing as Dad. Dad was laid back and Mom took care of things, and it seems like for the most part in general that's where we're sitting at is, typically moms and dads still take traditional roles. I mean, obviously certain things happen in life, but... Yeah,
so that's true. So, so we all have mellow dads, and we have parents who had most of us have parents who had pretty traditional roles. And I also... I think it's interesting that the fondest memories are not material for everybody.
That's true.
The fond memories are time being spent one-on-one, or, otherwise some family time that's spent, at the dinner table, or with the, the egg battles, or with, all kinds of things that don't cost anything. So for me, it's always, I know that, and we're told that kids need quality time and that's what they want, but it's really true, and I have to remind myself a lot, too, because it gets very busy in life, and to just take time out, if my daughter says, will you push me on the swing, I usually the thought is, no, I got something, I gotta cook, or but to just stop and I would love to push you on the swing, because that's what, I remember that. I remember my mom pushing me on the swing at the park,
Because that's all you really want from your parents. You just want them to spend time and pay attention to you.
Right, exactly.
Appreciate you. Exactly. I mean, it's true. That's what you want. Even, how old I am now, that's all I want. I just want parents to pay attention to me, Just talk to me, pay attention to me. Tell me, ask me questions about what's going on in my life. That's all you want.
Right.
You just want your parents to be involved.
No, thank you very much. So this is our last podcast with this panel with you guys, and I so appreciate you coming and doing the 4 podcasts, and just sharing your life, basically, sharing how it was for you to grow up, and some of it was very much the same, and some was very much different.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks. I think that we all really enjoyed it. I know I did. I had a good time.
Thanks for listening to the Hillbilly Justice on the School Bus podcast. Tune in next week to meet our new discussion panel members and to find out why our neighbors hoisted Dad into the bottom of our well. Until then, dream big and have fun.